In the shadowed corridors of combat, where warriors clash in a cage of brutal ballet, there emerges a tale as old as time itself, yet freshly inked with the blood and sweat of modern gladiators. At the heart of this narrative, a figure looms large, an Irish spectre haunting the dreams of promoters and fighters alike. Conor McGregor. The man who, with a left hand as poetic as it is destructive, catapulted the UFC into the stratosphere of sports entertainment, becoming not just a participant but an emblem of an era. An era where the octagon transformed into a stage for epic sagas, with McGregor as its most compelling storyteller. As the UFC found itself catapulted into a new echelon of corporate valuation, riding the crest of a wave brought on by McGregor's unparalleled draw, a sale materialized, monumental in its scope, $4.2 billion. This figure, astronomical, unprecedented, was undeniably intertwined with the allure and spectacle McGregor brought to bear. Yet, as the ink dried on this historic transaction, a shadow fell upon the very warrior who had lifted the organization to these dizzying heights. Dana White, the czar of this brutal empire, seems to have turned his gaze away, dismissing the very architect of his realm's ascendance. McGregor, the man who once stood as the colossus bestriding the narrow world of MMA, finds himself ensnared in contractual chains, bound to a promise unfulfilled: 2 fights, 2 final dances in the octagon that have yet to see the light of day. The silence from the throne is deafening. McGregor, a legend who has not graced the octagon in 3 years, remains a specter of what was and what could still be. His absence is a void, felt not just by the legion of fans who clamour for his return, but by the very fabric of the sport itself, which seems to dim in the absence of his electric presence. It's time to right what has been wronged. Dana White, please pay Conor now for his last 2 fights, not as a gesture of charity, but as a due owed to the man who gave your empire its crown jewel. This is not merely about fulfilling a contractual obligation, it's about honouring the legacy of a fighter who reshaped the contours of combat sports, who brought the UFC to a zenith it had never before imagined. Let McGregor return to the arena, not as a chained gladiator bound to the whims of an empire, but as a free warrior, choosing his battles, writing the final chapters of his saga on his own terms. Let the fans bear witness to the twilight of a legend, while the fires of his prowess still burn bright. Be a good person for once, Dana. Release McGregor from the shadows of obligation and let him step into the light of free will. For in doing so, you honour not just the man, but the very spirit of the sport that he helped elevate to the pantheon of greatness. Let him be a free man, to fight, to live, and to leave a legacy that will echo in the halls of Valhalla for eternity.